chase. Cut to the chase, Toastmaster Helen. Best of luck.
Every person has a unique communication style, the way they interact and they exchange ideas with one another. We behave differently with our spouse, the way as to we behave differently with maybe a taxi driver. Now, we have different clues in our organizations or in our settings, how to behave and how to get a little bit of ideas about how to behave in different situations. So, there are many communication styles, but the one I am going to highlight today is the one which is on the Pathways project, which is as follows. The first one, the communication style in the Pathways project is direct, very direct, get to the point. The second one though is analytical. I need details. The third is supportive, very caring, very patient. The fifth one is the initiator. This person will focus on, let's say, stories. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, a very good evening.
Good evening.
I firmly believe not many people would agree with me, but the communication styles which we have comes from our upbringing. I say this because also with regards to our communication styles, also we need to know when to have personal relationships and when to behave in a professional way in our upbringings, not just the upbringings and social gatherings, our school environment. Now, I am the youngest of three very beautiful sisters who has played an amazing role in shaping my communication style. I say this because I got first-hand information, unknowingly, from small, the different communication styles. When I was writing my speech, I did realize this. I said, oh, is that? That was what I was going through, but I didn't have a name to the face. So, let's start with the eldest. My eldest sister, she is very analytical. You have to go to her with details. Then she will explain and everything. The second one, though, is very direct. No nonsense. Cut to the chase, come to the point. And I think, let's say that I get that from her. The third one, though, is she's the supporter. She's a supporter of the family. She is so caring that even if she sees a bed on the road, she'll go and feed it. The fifth one is the initiator. Well, it's not my sister, but my brother, who's no more, he apparently, I got to know from his colleagues when he passed away that he was a life party. So that's the initiator. Now, this is how all our experiences is. Let's give you little examples of how my personality has been shaped. Well, even though my siblings had different communication styles, they kept reminding me that, you have to be on your guard. The words they said was this, I'm not joking. Helen, you will not let anybody walk over you. Nobody, and I mean nobody. You will not keep quiet for anyone. Nobody. You will speak your mind. And most importantly, you will give them tit for tat. And tit for tat, I still do. So, I got married on the first lunch which we had. My husband has a huge family, very close-knit family. So we all were sitting around the table for lunch. And the menu for that afternoon was fish, big huge tiger prawns, and the various fish. Well, actually my mouth is watering even mentioning it. It was pomfrets, it was mackerels, if anybody know what mackerels are, and it was some other fish which I can't get to now. But so my mother-in-law, the sweetest lady on this planet, please don't get me wrong, she's really sweet. Nothing wrong, Mama, I really love you. So she was at the dinner table, and before we started eating, and she says, let the boys serve first. said, why? I just blurted out. I said, why? What about us? Someone in the family said, oh man, here we go. I was looked at with deep silences and awkwardness. Till today, when we have social gatherings, I keep my mouth shut. And I think that's the reason why I am my mother-in-law's favorite. Alright, so coming back to Dubai, my first job in the corporate world, I came across many kinds of, we all do in Dubai actually, different cultures, different personalities, but actually I got firsthand also with the different people, their different styles, different working. Now, as you already know, I think my style. So, one incident I will never forget, my boss, the sweetest guy also, he had to know feedback of the previous year's annual party. So his boss, okay, just for us to imagine, let's name my boss John. Now my boss's boss, let's name him Mike. So John comes out of his office and he says, Helen, can you come into my office please? Just for a minute? Sure. Can you tell Mike what your feedback, how was the annual party last year? That's easy. I looked at Mike and I said, it was horrible. With the capital H. Mike looked at me flabbergasted. I was like, really? John turns to Mike and says, you got your answer. Thank you, Helen. That's it. I walked out, went to my desk. I went pondering with that feedback. And I'm like, why? Not that day, but it was through the month. And I kept asking myself, why did John wanted my feedback? Why was my feedback most important? We have like 100 people in the organization. And that got me thinking. Why? Because Helen only knows one language. She only knows black and she only knows white. She doesn't know any other color when it comes to language. Because Helen always gives honest feedback. Pray to God I'm not your evaluator. so that got me thinking, and that kept me wondering. I said, okay, that's the reason why. Now, fast forward to this day, I lead a team of 6 in different countries in the Middle East and African region. So, of course, I have different cultures, I have different people. I have to be very careful in how I approach them because at the end of the day, I need results. But thanks to Mr. John, my boss, he instilled in me various, in our one-to-ones, he told me, Helen, you have to, if you want results, if you want to adapt to the environment, you have to know the communication style of your peers. And then you dwell. Don't just barge in and give your piece. It's good, but not at all the times. Relax. So that's what I was doing. So I would also like ask each one of you, do you know your communication style? I'm sure you do mine. So let's intervene. Over to you.